By now you may have seen a few episodes of me going through my Evo 10 and refreshing it, bringing it back to life, because when I bought it, it was a little rough around the edges. And we've done a lot to make it a lot nicer. So far, I really like the car. In the last episode, we did suspension stuff to it and it drives really nice. Evos are incredible, but you know, I haven't really driven any other Evos, so I don't really know if this Evo is like the norm, if this is just how all Evos are. It feels really good, but the last Evo I drove was probably Ben's Evo like 3 or 4 years ago. So in this video, I've brought Ben by to see what he thinks of my Evo and see how it compares to all Evos in general. Ben, is this the pinnacle of all Evos right here?
I'm gonna say, no offense, this is not the pinnacle of all Evos.
Well, you haven't driven it yet, so you just don't know.
That's true, I haven't driven it, but the bar for Evos goes pretty high.
But this thing has actually got speed back into it.
They're all pretty fast.
Yeah, they are pretty fast.
Yeah, they're all pretty fast.
So 700 horsepower, that's the
Yeah.
tagline, obviously. Ride comfort is pretty good. 295s, they're a little wide. The wide body, I'm like constantly nervous about. I cracked the other side of the little side skirt, just a little crack in it, and I looked it up and they're $1,700. The body kit is definitely like the drawback, but it's also what makes this Evo pretty cool, you know, like different and unique.
Probably pretty similar to other Evo 10s that have various wide bodies on them.
Yeah, I think maybe a stock body Evo would be like performance-wise better.
Yeah.
But then when you step back and look at this thing, you're like, I just don't have the heart in me to take the wide body off, you know?
For the sake of YouTube, I say leave the wide body.
If this wasn't YouTube, I would just be driving around bone stock EG Honda Civics nonstop. So
Honestly, probably me too.
yeah.
You guys get to look at the car, you don't have to drive it, right? So I feel like in that case, the wide body is probably better.
Honestly, you're gonna be surprised. There's not as many drawbacks as you would think. So you're gonna get going and you're gonna want to keep going faster.
I'm sure it's fast.
It's pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'll take it for a spin. What the hell? Good night. Why on earth does boost come on so dramatically? It's like, it feels like a nice linear torque band, and then it's like it comes on cam like that, just so hard. That was such a dramatic surge of power. I'm like scared to hit it again, to be honest. This is my first time driving this car since 2015. So I don't remember what it used to drive like. I cross-country'd a Evo 10 with the SST, about 400 horsepower on that one. And yeah, that was very usable, obviously. I drove it to Portland and back. I actually kind of like the linearity of the power delivery. Ben was making it sound like it just comes on in a wave. It's pretty usable. You do have to wait for the turbo to spool, but it's not like it's horrifically slow before it's got full spool. It does that Evo thing where when you add a lot of horsepower to it, it kind of confuses the all-wheel drive system. It doesn't really know which wheel to send all of the horsepower to. So at full boost, it does a vaguely disconcerting thing where it kind of moves around a little bit. The steering is nice and light, I like that. You know, with 700 horsepower, I thought it would be really like, you do a pull and then the car sucks. The rest of the time when you're not wide open throttle, the car is awful to drive. But Ben was right, it's really not bad. I feel like I'm driving a stock Evo, which is a good thing, you know? It feels like a stock Evo until you're on throttle. On the interior, it really doesn't have a lot of unnecessary modifications. I hate when people just put on a aftermarket steering wheel for no reason. You know, Evos I think typically have really nice wheels, great for performance driving. They have good feel in your hands, and they kept this one, and I like that. I hate that they got rid of cruise control. That's pretty unfortunate, but I guess this is not really a car that somebody built to, you know, they were sacrificing the long-term driving, like the road trip ability of it, in exchange for kind of a party trick, which is, I guess, this anti-lag. Here, let's try this. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, that's neat. Hold cancel. That feels like a video game. No complaints about that, honestly. If you have to get rid of cruise control for something, at least make it a neat party trick like that. You know, I think that the majority of the driving experience has been maintained. You know, you haven't lost a bunch of stuff at the expense of doing all of these like hot boy mods. The exterior is another thing. I don't know how I feel about that, but here, let's try anti-lag from second gear. Cancel. I think I need to go a little bit faster. All right, cancel. Properly fast. Yeah, that felt like 700 horsepower. Honestly, pretty cool car. I thought I was gonna get into this thing and talk a lot of trash. I can't talk that much trash. I don't have much in the way of gripes about this. Would I take this over a stock Evo 10? No, probably not. But as a car that you drive occasionally, which I'm sure that's what this car was to the previous owner, and obviously is to Ben, I dig it. No complaints. It works as a weekend car for sure.
Well, Ben, what'd you think? What'd you think of the old whip?
You know, I liked it a whole lot more than I thought I was going to.
Isn't it surprising?
It's actually, okay, so here's the real big reasons why I like it is because when you're inside the car, it mostly feels just like a stock Evo 10,
Yeah.
which is, I typically tend towards thinking that the factory did most things best, and then when people just throw mods at something, it usually makes it worse. In this case, all the mods that have been done, as far as drivability, I think have been integrated pretty well.
Handling drivability, yeah?
Handling feels like stock. The steering wheel weight
is
not
crazy
affected.
light.
Yeah.
It's like a heavy car. You would expect
it has
like
295s in front, so I thought that it was going to be really heavy steering, but it's still super light, which I love.
Yeah.
The 700 horsepower, not bad drivability.
I don't need it, but yeah, it's...
But like it spools, it'll start spooling at 4,000. Like I think it has usable power from 4,000 up. I started playing with the anti-lag and that was fun. Like it works so well. It's like, it feels like a video game feature. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
the boost, like spring-loaded button.
But it's like it's not jankily integrated. Like it works super well, which feels like a factory, it has like a factory level of integration where it's not like somebody just cobbled this together. Yeah. And then I put it into second, got it up to like 3,500 and did the anti-lag. Yeah. Second to third.
That'll kick you back.
Yeah, I mean, that was very impressive. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was like a ton of fun. Unfortunately, I think that maybe you're not the right person to do cosmetic upgrades.
What's wrong with these tails?
Well, Ben...
Have you seen what they do when you first turn them on?
I have.
Okay.
In conjunction with the black trunk, the carbon fiber trunk, and now these tail lights, could I posit Chevy Volt?
Sure, maybe.
That's not a good comparison.
Yeah, I wanted to get the Varus tails, but they're like a 4-month wait, and so I was like, okay, I looked at the knockoffs, and the knockoff, they don't even ship to the US, so I went for this one because I figured, you know what, I'm gonna try something a little bit different.
as a car that's just built to be a weekend car, which is like very much what this is, no cruise control, horrible gas mileage, like it will have issues because of how many mods it has, but if you only ever need to drive the car when you want to have fun, it doesn't, none of those things matter.
This is a weekend car to me. Like 100%. I don't want to commute with it because it's still, you know, getting started in first gear is annoying at red lights and stuff. It's like, I want it for roads like this.
But honestly, taking it, like doing U-turns in parking lots and stuff, it's not bad.
Yeah, so before I did the suspension stuff to it, you can see a little mark on the fender there. The tire would actually hit the fender. But now it has the added caster, so the tire sticks up.
That's probably your greatest improvement, I would say.
The caster.
Just not like getting the turning radius back. Like that's the kind of stuff that people are like, ah, whatever, it doesn't matter.
No,
that matters so much because that every time you drive the car, you have to be like, oh, I can't turn the wheel all the way. I've driven cars with less horsepower that are harder to drive. So I was really impressed by how smoothly all that was integrated into
You should have driven it maybe before I started messing with it.
I'm glad I didn't. I'm very
I'm not done messing with it. The power, I want to fix the power band, and I'm pretty sure if I go with a smaller turbo, I can get it to spool quicker. But Garrett's new turbo lineup should be able to make 700 horsepower still. So I can keep the 700 horsepower because we're YouTubers and we need to make good content. And it should be able to spool quicker, I'm pretty sure. And maybe throw MyVec back in there if maybe.
MyVec I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I thought I was gonna be like, oh yeah, you need to take this to RS Motors and get a smaller turbo. Honestly, I think it's fine.
Yeah, but it can be better.
Luke, could you step over here for me?
Luke, have you ever driven 700 horsepower?
No, this was power driven.
What did you drive to this shoot with?
I drove a Honda Fit that makes a whopping 100 horsepower, if that.
Okay.
Well, how about 7 times that?
Yeah.
That's a tall order.
Would you like to drive 700% of the horsepower you drove up?
I'm a little nervous, but you seem to say it's pretty easy to drive. So.
You'll do great.
Let's just roll into it a little more here. Well, that just disappears. The road just goes away. Next thing you know, you're at the next corner. That's awesome, man. Nothing like turbo cars to put a smile on my face. It's always turbo cars. Handles really well. Like, turn-in's very good. The steering's very light as well, which is nice. All right, rolling to third. Oh! Yeah, it does does move around the road a little bit. But yeah, that's quick. That's really fast.